of the rain that a road caved in, causing an accident in which a man was injured and was rushed to a private hospital. Kaveri and Harangi rivers overflow, flood Madikeri. Kaveri and its tributary Harangi were filled to the brim, and overflowing of these two rivers has resulted in the massive destruction of property. Army called in for rescue operation. Mother-child saved from jaws of death. A mother and child stuck in waist-deep water were rescued. Bridges submerged underwater. Many bridges in the district were completely submerged. Farmers struggle to safeguard their produce. We have seen many instances of farmers committing suicide due to drought, but the heavy rains this time have been equally disastrous for them, as their crops have been washed away. Walls could not withstand rain's fury. Several houses and compounds came crashing down, unable to withstand the fury of the rain gods. Army called in for rescue operations. Soon after the devastation in Kodagu hit the headlines, rescue operations began, for which the army was called in as local authorities were unable to cope with the magnitude of the disaster. The forces moved in quickly and took many stranded residents to safety.
Gautam sir.
Helicopter was called in for a rescue operation. Take a look at these visuals of a small boy stranded on the roof of his house. But then thankfully, rescuers spotted him and took him to safety.
Well, truly, Madikeri has been battered and ravaged, and it's only the spirit and hope of the people which see residents survive the rain fury on a daily basis. There are screams of anxiety, there are screams of panic emerging from every district. Let me tell you that. We saw in Kodagu houses collapse. We saw people taking visuals, mobile visuals, capturing visuals, and you see their anxiety and their panic. Because that is the fear which has prevailed, which this monsoon has been able to unleash across the district. It's not just Madikeri. Hassan, another district which we thought will not be affected as much. Madikeri is known for the monsoon rains, the Mungaru Male. But in Hassan, although the rains do come, it doesn't come with so much of fury. But in Hassan too, residents have been put to immense hardship that they fear for their lives. Roads have been inundated. Houses have been inundated. People stepping out of their houses to get to safety find a totally different challenge on the roads. Take a look.
Hassan. Residents wade through waist-high water on streets. People forced out of inundated houses. Never has Hassan faced such a situation. Residents hope to escape from inundated houses, but the streets posed an even bigger challenge. They struggle to wade through what seemed like rivers flowing through the towns. One wrong step and it could be fatal. The biggest fear for residents on the flooded streets was stepping onto loose cables from fallen electric poles. And then, of course, was the worry about the ground giving way from under their feet. Roads disappear in rainwater. Nothing less than a boat can commute on these river-like roads. Hassan's roads had literally turned into rivers. People could hardly move their vehicles in the waist-high water. Boats used to rescue residents in Ranganathpura. Areas where the waters were dangerously high saw boats being used to rescue residents. Stranded residents were ferried to safety in various locations. Roads cave in under fury. Commuters using the roads were warned as many parts of the district saw roads caving in. Landslides in Hassan instill fear among commuters. Just like in Madikeri, landslides were a common sight in Hassan as well. Fortunately, unlike Madikeri, no casualties were reported. Uprooted trees block railway tracks. Many trees toppled because of the rains and fell onto railway tracks. This caused hardship to travellers as many trains were halted for long periods.
You saw how the residents of Hassan have been grappling with rains. Getting out of their homes, they find a different change. They find a different challenge on the streets. That was Hassan and Madikeri for you. But these were not the only districts that were affected by the rains. There were other districts across Karnataka, and we bring you the devastation that has been caused by the southwest monsoon. Stay tuned. We bring you next Mangaluru. How has Mangaluru coped with the rains? Stay tuned.
अगर आपके चेहरे पर कोई दाग धब्बे ना हो तो आपको महसूस होता है फर्क आत्मविश्वास का, आपकी जीत और ग्लोरी का। ग्लो से ग्लोरी तक की इस यात्रा के लिए पतंजलि लाया है फेस वॉश की रेंज, जिसमें है हनी, नीम, आमंड, केसर, तुलसी, चंदन, एलोवेरा आदि के गुण। पतंजलि फेस वॉश बढ़ाए आपका आत्मविश्वास।
So much natak to stay awake. Peps, spring mattresses that adjust to your body to keep you awake all day.
Live the Peps life.
No one can stop us from laying eggs in this house. I can stop you. You don't know. We are Aedes mosquito who spread dengue and chikungunya. My teacher in school has given me all the information to avoid dengue mosquito. Oh, kid, you challenge us. We'll sure find a way. Get. You won't get. Oh, they have all the arrangements here.
To prevent dengue, change cooler water every week. Keep buckets and tanks properly covered. Wear full-sleeved clothes. Use mosquito repellent cream, coil and incense sticks.
Fight dengue means avoid dengue.
Rajarajeswari College of Engineering, Bangalore, with reputed NBA accreditation, empowers the students to be employable with exhaustive industrial interface and well-defined training programs.
Which is the responsible oil for cooking?
I prefer Sun Pure.
How is it responsible?
Enriched with natural vitamins and antioxidants.
So what?
I am responsible for the happiness of my granddaughter. So, Sun Pure.
The responsible oil. Sun Pure Sunflower Oil.
In Dakshina Kannada, the monsoon seemed to have arrived early. It was during May end when the monsoons arrived in Dakshina Kannada, and they arrived with tremendous force. They made a tremendous impact, so much so that the H.D. Kumaraswamy government was questioned as to why there was no action in Mangaluru when people were suffering because of the rains. Dakshina Kannada seemed to have tided over that crisis at the beginning of June. But now, the after effects are still being felt. And even as the rains continue battering other districts in the state, Mangaluru has not been left behind. Dakshina Kannada was one of the first districts to feel the impact of the southwest monsoon. And now, even as we are bang in the middle of the monsoon season, they are again battered by the rains. Take a look.
Mangaluru. Mangaluru faces wrath of nature. The coastal district of Dakshina Kannada, normally a region that receives heavy rain, has been particularly hit hard this monsoon. Torrential rain has caused widespread damage. Youth's body was found floating. Although the loss of life in Dakshina Kannada has not been on the level of neighbouring Kerala, the body of the youth was washed ashore on the banks of a river. Kapila River overflows, floods bridges and roads. The relentless rain has led to the overflowing of the Kapila River. The overflowing river inundated major roads and bridges across Dakshina Kannada. Minister U.T. Khadar visits rain-hit areas. Urban Development Minister U.T. Khadar visited the rain-hit areas and promised relief to the flood-affected people.
How is the coffee estate, another coffee estate of Karnataka, faring? That is Chikmagaluru. It is known for the abundant coffee estates. The district is known for that. But as the rains have hit, they have not spared Chikmagaluru as well. And Chikmagaluru too is reeling from the effects of the rains. Animals have struggled to counter these rains. Residents, of course, with that goes without saying. Residents have struggled. But how will Chikmagaluru survive this battering that it has received? That is a question which has to be answered. Hopefully, the government is taking note, because the coffee farmers are the worst affected in Chikmagaluru. Take a look.
Chikmagaluru. Walls collapse in heavy rains. The coffee bowl of Karnataka faced the wrath of nature with houses collapsing. Bridges go underwater. With no let-up in the rain, there was heavy flooding and many bridges across the district were submerged. Stranded people rescued. Many people who were stranded as their houses were destroyed were seen pleading for help. Tree-fallen roads caving in brings traffic to a standstill. As dozens of trees fell across roads, vehicle movement was stalled in many places. Roads caving in was another factor that stopped transport in large areas in the district. Farmers bailing out water from their fields. The torrential rains did not spare crops. Devastated farmers struggled to bail out water from their inundated fields. A buffalo stranded in the middle of a river. Animals had a hard time too. Take a look at this buffalo struggling to cross a river.
We saw residents, we saw city streets being inundated, residents struggling to cope with the rains, houses inundated. What about the agricultural community? In Chikmagaluru, the farmers were affected. And that was the same case in Davangere as well. Inundated fields and farmers struggling to save their harvest. They would have looked at this monsoon with so much of optimism, considering that there was bountiful rains at the beginning of the season. But now, their plight has turned to misery, even as they struggle to protect the few crops that they have. In Davangere too, hopefully, the farmers' pleas are heard by the government. Take a look at the situation they are facing.
Davangere. Misery mounts on farmers. Months of hard work seems to have gone down the drain for Davangere's farmers. The fields were inundated and farmers struggled to cope with the devastation. Bhadra overflows, Davangere bears the brunt. The proximity to the Bhadra river seemed to be Davangere's bane. The river overflowed and the district felt the repercussions. Residents were forced out of their homes even as vehicles lay submerged in the rainwater.
How will the state's farmers cope with the devastation that has hit them? How will they recover from their losses? That's the question which stares them in the face. They may have got a crop loan waiver. They may have got loan waivers from other banks. But how about a waiver from nature's fury? That was just not possible for the farmers of the state. Davangere's farmers, Chikmagluru's farmers are reeling from the after effects of the rain. The state's cultural capital was not spared of rain fury. Temples in Mysuru were flooded, and residents, despite the rains, did visit temples. But life is not easy in the cultural capital. Take a look at how Mysuru has been affected.
Mysuru. Unending misery for low-lying areas in Mysuru. The unrelenting rain over the past few days has brought immense misery to people in Mysuru city. Many low-lying areas were flooded and many people were stranded because of inundation of homes. Roads to Ooty and Nanjangud disappear. A group of people were stranded on the road leading to Ooty and Nanjangud. The rains were so heavy that the roads had been completely submerged underwater. Traffic is being monitored near Mallanamule Mutt near Nanjangud Mutt. The floods had cut off the bridge, leaving residents of 30 villages in the taluk almost stranded. They now have to make a detour of additional 15 kilometers to reach T. Narsipura town. Temples flooded across Mysuru. Many temples were flooded across Mysuru, the most famous among them being Srikanteshwara temple in Nanjangud, which is located on the banks of Kapila river. The total outflow of Kaveri river at Triveni Sangama, the confluence of three rivers Kapila, Kaveri and Spatika, the invisible river at T. Narsipura, was close to 2 lakh cusecs. The outflow from KRS Dam was close to 1.3 lakh cusecs, while from Kapila Reservoir it was nearly 70,000 cusecs on Thursday. Devotees take a holy dip in flooded temple. While the river flooded the Nanjangud temple, many devotees risked taking a holy dip at the ghats near the temple. Rescue operations underway in Mysuru. Rescue forces and NDRF officials are currently in Mysuru overlooking the rescue operations. Many stranded residents were being ferried to safety in boats. A NEWS9 report.
Even as the flood ravages Karnataka, the many districts in the state, many questions come to mind. How will farmers come through this crisis? How will residents get back their houses that have collapsed or have been destroyed? When will the misery end for them? All that they can do now is look up to the government for succor. But will the government provide them that? That's the question. We saw how Karnataka was suffering from the floods, but the casualties have not been many. On the other hand, in our neighboring state, Kerala, the death toll has gone up to 167, and that is a staggering figure. In just probably 1 week of rains, Kerala has lost many lives. After this break, we show you the devastation that was wreaked on God's own country. Stay tuned.
Inspired by the 6-time Iron MRC champion, the all-new TVS Apache RTR 164B. We don't make sports bikes, we build race machines. TVS Apache RTR 164V. Test race it today.
Introducing Kamdhenu Next, double ribs interlock steel, जो दे 2.5 गुना ज़्यादा bond strength. Kamdhenu Next, next generation interlock steel.
Looking for ready-to-move-in apartments at Yashwantpur? Presenting Platinum City. Call White Rays at 9980569264.
जैसी choice सबकी मिलेगी choice. दुकान मकान या बिल्डिंग ऑफिस सबकी मिलेगी choice. 1, 2, 3, 4 सारे BHK bungalows, villas, flats, हटके. जिसकी जैसी choice सबकी मिलेगी choice.
Ready for anything. The new feature-loaded Renault Kwid. Renault, passion for life.
The visuals that emerge from Kerala seem to be much more scarier than what we saw in Karnataka. And the screams of panic, the pleas for help seem to be much louder in Kerala than in Karnataka. Because that is what the floods, the rains have done to that state. The situation is pathetic, to say the least. People in the state are finding it difficult to come out, and people from outside the state who want to help the Keralites in this precarious position cannot get in. That's the dilemma which the state is facing. The Chief Minister has called on resources from all across the country. There are appeals, there are pleas going out all across the country for help to Kerala. We bring you the situation, why it has arisen, and why exactly is there so much of noise and clamor being made about the rain situation in Kerala. But truly, the images and the visuals that you see are heart-rending. Take a look. Villages submerged. Bridges damaged. Transport affected. God's own country reels under nature's fury. Kerala, known as God's own country, is going through hell since the southwest monsoon turned ferocious in the state. Incessant rains have left many parts of the state devastated. Grim scenes from every corner. Pathanamthitta. Pathanamthitta district in central Kerala has been the worst affected as thousands of people were trapped in their homes in Rani, Aranmura and Korincherry. Heart-wrenching scenes of elderly people being rescued were witnessed in the region. People were being rescued from the swirling, waist-deep water by rescue teams. Upper Kuttanad. Women were waiting in thigh-high water to take their children to safety as their houses were submerged. The flooding forced many people to abandon their homes and find safer places. Food grain stores too were flooded, threatening a shortage of food. Malampura. The army built a 35 feet long bridge to rescue people stuck in the floods. Around 100 people, including children and senior citizens, were rescued from Malampura's Valiyakada village. From houses to bus stands, petrol pumps and cinema halls, every corner was submerged in water, bringing life to a standstill. Kochi. The city continues to reel under heavy flooding. Bad weather has forced the Kochi Metro to suspend its operations. The airport in Kochi, the busiest in Kerala, will remain shut till August 26 due to heavy rains and resultant flooding. The runway and the parking area of the airport are flooded. Kannur district. A massive landslide was caught on camera at Ambiyathoda near Kottiyur in Kannur district. Several trees were uprooted due to the landslide triggered by incessant rain. Death toll rises to 167. The situation only seems to be worsening by the day as the rains have unleashed their fury on Kerala. There is no let-up in the flood situation in the state as rains continue to pound the state. The death toll has gone up further and people in the flooded areas are facing grave difficulties. The death toll has increased to a total of 167. Life comes to a standstill. The flood and landslides have led to unforeseen misery and chaos. The landslides and floods have caused an increase in the death toll. That apart, nearly thousands of residents continue to remain stranded. Around 80% of the state is without power as the Kerala State Electricity Board has cut supply in view of submerged roads and buildings in order to avoid chances of electrocution. How can God's own country be treated like this? How do the residents of Kerala cope with the disaster that is natural or man-made? That's the question which is being asked. But the most poignant thing is, how do children and aged people cope with this disaster? Whatever help the Kerala government can provide it is doing. But then, Kerala really needs the help of not only the government, but governments across the country and people across the country, because the situation they are in is very dire. The challenges they are facing is probably not faced by most other states. This monsoon has been horrible for Kerala. The horrors that they are going through is not easy to digest. Can Kerala cope with this crisis? Take a look as we bring you more visuals from districts across Kerala and how the rains have battered the state. This year, the monsoon hit Kerala 3 days before the scheduled May 29th date. Just days later, a warning of flash floods was sounded. But less than a week later, it was mayhem across the state. Here's a look at how the situation rocketed from normal to worse. The monsoon set in on June 15th, and from then till the 16th of July, the effects were not that devastating. There were no new flood reports for 3 weeks through the middle of June till the first week of July. But then, over the next 2 weeks, the situation turned topsy-turvy. 7 districts reported heavy rains, landslides and flash floods. Once again, after this spell, there was a lull between July 21st and July 27th. However, the number of people affected was large. $1.17 lakh people displaced to relief camps. State announces relief worth 63.05 crore rupees. More than 1 lakh people were displaced, and with almost all the districts of the state affected by the rains, relief camps were set up. The Kerala government even announced relief worth 63.05 crore rupees to be distributed among the 13 affected districts. After that, the situation only worsened. And since then, it has only gone downhill. The death toll has been on a continuous rise. Until August 17th, Friday, the total number of deaths reported stands at 167, with hundreds missing. Even as people struggle to cope with this challenge of heavy rains, there are some people, the rescue teams and volunteers, who have given their lives to battle the rains, to battle inundated roads, to rescue people and ensure that they are safe. We tell you more about these bunch of brave hearts on the other side. Stay tuned.
पहलवान जैसी ताकत, साइंटिस्ट जैसा तेज दिमाग, स्वस्थ हृदय, आंखों की ज्योति, लंबी आयु और ग्लोइंग स्किन के लिए गाय का घी ही सर्वश्रेष्ठ है। लेकिन ये फायदे तभी हैं जब घी शुद्ध हो। पतंजलि गाय का शुद्ध देसी घी खाइए, अपने मासूम बच्चों और परिवार को मिलावट के जहर से बचाइए।
ACS College of Engineering, an institution of academic excellence, creating not just graduates but architects of the modern world.
ನಿನ್ ಮಕ್ ಹೊಡೆದಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನನಗ್ ನೀನಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಹಿಂದೆ 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 ಹೋಗು ಮಕ್ಕು ಕುದ್ರು ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೋಗು ಕಣ್ಣು ಹೊಡೆದು ಲೈನು ಹಾಕು ಸಿಕ್ಕು ತಾಳ ಸುಂದರಿ.
Calm Experience international furniture designs at Indian prices. Up to 60% off at Royal Oak. Visit the store or log on to royaloakindia.com.
Shinu, can you get this?
You never listen. Never. Premium cars like this are costly to maintain.
Actually, ma'am, the 4-year maintenance cost for Skoda Rapid is under 30,000 rupees. We give you India's first 4-year warranty, 4-year roadside assistance for all Skoda cars at no extra cost.
So it's easy to maintain, right?
It is, sir.
You never listen. That's what he's been saying. But I'll be driving, right?
Peace of mind comes standard with a Skoda. Skoda, simply clever.
The Army, the Navy and the Air Force has been called in to help out in Kerala. Apart from the services, there are thousands of volunteers who have given their lives to help the people struggling in Kerala. Take a look at how Kerala is struggling to overcome nature's fury and wrath. Worst flooding in 90 years hits Kerala. Kerala is currently struggling to stay afloat in the middle of its worst flooding in 90 years. The last one was in 1924. Floods have already claimed over 150 lives and have caused unprecedented loss to property. Hospitals run out of water. Pathanamthitta district. A hospital in Pathanamthitta district, which was badly affected in the rains on Wednesday, remains inundated. Even on the third day, the water level has not receded, and the first floor of the 5-story building continues to be submerged. It is being said that the water tank at the hospital was completely empty by Thursday. The hospital also ran out of oxygen for the patients on ventilators and others. Stranded people reach out for help. Residents across villages have been left stranded. Flooding has prevented residents from moving out of their homes. In addition to this, electricity has been cut off in many parts of the state. With no means of looking out for help, residents have resorted to uploading SOS videos on social media, seeking to rescue boats and relieve supplies. Chengalur.
ഇതിനകത്തെ അവസ്ഥയാണിത്.
Armed forces swing into action. The centre on Thursday deployed all three wings of the armed forces in a massive rescue operation. 52 teams of central forces including Army, Navy, Air Force and the Coast Guard are involved in rescue operations. 40 more NDRF teams will be deployed in Kerala. Boats, helicopters, makeshift bridges and more. Rescue operations over the days have seen great amounts of efforts by not just the armed forces but by the general public as well. The army has swung into action in Kerala. Army personnel have made use of boats, helicopters, ropes and much more in order to rescue the stranded. Take a look at these visuals of how the army built makeshift bridges in order to help stranded people cross over. That apart, helicopters have been deployed to airlift stranded families from rooftops. Take a look at how this pregnant woman was rescued by a chopper. She was shifted to the hospital and even delivered a baby within 2 hours of being rescued. Local fishermen helped rescue stranded. Local fishermen too jumped into action in order to aid the team leading the rescue operations. These 8 fishermen from Kollam district rushed to Pathanamthitta district in order to rescue the stranded. They have already succeeded in rescuing nearly 40 stranded people. Relief camps thrown open across state. Relief camps have been thrown open across all the 14 districts of the state. Volunteers have been working 24/7 in order to provide relief to those rescued. Trucks, buses and ambulances were seen taking people to relief camps. The elderly and sick were rescued with whatever means available. Residents even tried to move their pets to safety. Thousands of people left their homes and belongings for safer places. State closes dam gate to rescue elephant trapped. Thrissur. Local forest officials and wildlife lovers jumped into action as soon as they found an elephant stranded near the Attarapilli Falls in Thrissur district. The elephant was rescued after a 4-hour-long operation. Officials even closed a dam gate in order to stop the water flow for a few hours. Neighbors jump into action. But what stands out is that several people in Bengaluru, Chennai and other cities have come together to volunteer and send relief material to camps in Kerala. Will it be more destruction? Even as rescue and relief operations are underway on a war footing in rain-battered Kerala, The Indian Met Department has predicted more rains for the state in the next 48 hours. Very heavy rainfall is in store in isolated places for the districts of Ernakulam, Idukki, Thrissur, Palakkad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Wayanad and Kannur, while Thiruvananthapuram, Kollam, Pathanamthitta, Alappuzha, Kottayam will experience heavy rainfall. While this spells more tragedy, there are also reports that suggest that the rains will reduce by Sunday. Hopefully, this brings some respite for the people of the state. A NEWS9 report.
ये फुटबॉल है, क्रिकेट नहीं।
नो, क्रिकेट है, क्रिकेट।
क्रिकेट का एक्सपर्ट मैं हूँ।
सीलिंग शॉट जानते हो?
हेलीकॉप्टर शॉट, सीलिंग शॉट नहीं।
नो, सीलिंग शॉट मेरा शॉट, सीलिंग शॉट मेरा शॉट।
इंडिगो ब्राइट सीलिंग पेंट, एक स्ट्रोक में सब कुछ ब्राइट।
इंडिगो ब्राइट सीलिंग पेंट।
इंडिगो,
देखा कितना ब्राइट।
जैसी चॉइस सबकी मिलेगी चॉइस। दुकान मकान या बिल्डिंग ऑफिस सबकी मिलेगी चॉइस। 1 2 3 4 सारे BHK बंगलोज विलास फ्लैट्स हटके। जिसकी जैसी चॉइस सबकी मिलेगी चॉइस।
Bengaluru's biggest SBI Home Loan Utsav is here again, 18th and 19th August, 10:30 AM to 7:30 PM at SBI LHO Campus, St. Mark's Road, Bangalore.
ready for anything. The new feature-loaded Renault Kwid. Renault, passion for life.
जब किचन में हो कुचीना
तो हर कोई बनाना चाहेगा खाना
कुचीना।
This program is co-sponsored by
Renault Kwid, live for more.
Galaxy J8.
He was a notorious rowdy wanted for several murders. His modus operandi was throwing chili powder on his victims. He didn't expect his own associates would kill him the same way. SIT intensifies probe in Gauri Lankesh murder case. Confusion prevails over who the mastermind really is. Did you know that Atal Bihari Vajpayee had a special Bengaluru connection? Did you know his favorite food? Citizens recall his connection with the city as they sing praises for him. Mysore Road, Shantinagar, Banshankari, Kanakpura Road and Jayanagar. If there's anything these roads have in common, it is the number of yawning potholes. It is time for the 8th edition of the NEWS9 TV9 Sweet Home Expo. Come to the Mega Realty Carnival and walk away with your dream home. Hello and welcome. You're watching The Big Bang with me, Neha Hibale. Now, it is said that those that live by the sword die by the sword. This is truer for rowdies who get caught in a web of their own doings in the past. Here's a case of revenge killing that shook Bengaluru's underworld. Take a look.
This is Rowdy Sheeta Arasaya, also known as Karapudi Arasaya or Chili Powder Arasaya, who was wanted by police across the state. He was a notorious rowdy sheeter who was wanted in several murder cases. Arasaya was murdered on 11th August. He was murdered near Srirangapatna. It was a revenge killing. Back in 2001, Arasaya had reportedly killed a man named Ranganath near Banashankari Circle in connection with a tender bid. After more than 17 years, Ranganath's murder was avenged with Arasaya being killed. The person who killed Arasaya was none other than Ranganath's brother Palani, who is a wanted rowdy sheeter himself. CCB uncovered shocking details. According to unidentified sources in the CCB, Arasaya's murder was plotted by his own gang. Yes, around 11 of Arasaya's henchmen reportedly joined hands with Palani and plotted the execution. In fact, Arasaya was killed in a manner that he had perfected. The killers reportedly sprinkled chili powder on Arasaya's face and attacked him with deadly weapons before striking the final blow. The CCB cops have now managed to nab Palani and 10 other accused in the case. Rowdy sheeters Mandya Babu and Jai Ram, who were instrumental in plotting the murder, have now gone absconding. The CCB cops have formed a special team to nab the two men. The CCB is also trying to look into for more angles and involvement of others in the revenge killing. The incident has not only shook up citizens but also the whole underworld. Looks like the underworld in Bengaluru is alive and kicking despite the cops' claims to be contrary. Prajwal for NEWS9 Bengaluru.
The SIT probing the Gauri Lankesh case is still clueless about the mastermind in the case. Here is the latest update.
The Special Investigation Team has searched every nook and corner of Karnataka and Maharashtra for the suspects. There have been 12 arrests made so far, while one Amol Kale, who was considered one of the masterminds, was arrested by the SIT. The other person, Nihal alias Dada, has gone absconding. The other alleged mastermind, Shashikant Rane, has died before his name was revealed by